class of 2021 valedictorian, Mr. Israel Meyers.
The time? Midnight. The setting? The second-story bathroom of a dilapidated Victorian mansion. Adrenaline was rushing through my system and my heart was going ape-foot. The social experiment known as First Year St. Martin's was now months underway, but nothing I had as yet undergone could compare to this. Not even watching Ian Taylor almost stop a climbing instructor off a cliff, or witnessing the Mr. Clean and the zombie pit. No, this topped all. We zipped up our rain jackets, sounded the bagpipes, and charged into the hallway to Scotland Break. Water balloons, laundry detergent, and old shoes whirled through the air. Leaks sprung on the floor below us. A small waterfall formed on the stairway, and the drone called on duty almost had me. The next day, Mr. Kerr faced one of the many moments of reckoning I would have over the next 3 years. What was he doing? How would a boys' boarding school ever be a good idea? Had he never read Lord of the Flies? Mr. Kerr had taken a ginormous risk with his money and his reputation, betting them both on the character of 17 boys and one legal adult. And Mr. Kerr was doing it all for the quick side cause of turning those boys into men. That first fall, he and the other faculty members had cast into the deep and pursued the school with larger-than-life boldness and sacrifice. That was 3 years ago, and things have settled down since then. Sometimes growth has been slow. The faculty has faced setbacks. But like any good fisherman, these fishes of them have been patient. And in the face of the mundane, they have backed their biggest works with 1,000 little sacrifices. Though it may not have been these little actions which started this school, it is these which have kept this school going. And it's for these especially, I would like to thank the staff. Now, I want to make clear that little actions does not mean that those actions were only a little good, or only a little praiseworthy. On the contrary, they were massively heroic. The little actions I'm speaking of were the daily gestures of magnanimous men and women trying to do all things well. For 3 years now, I've lived under the same roof as these men and women, have eaten at the same table, and have heard their thoughts on books we have read together. In that time, I have witnessed their continual, dogged devotion to God and to neighbor. They are tireless, never taking the easy path, and always patient, joyfully dying, as St. Therese of Lisieux calls it, the death by 1,000 kingdoms. They have set for us an example of what it means to make virtue a habit, and of being faithful in little things, that one might be faithful in the large. And make no mistake about it, there are many times when dealing with the naggings of community life, where the boredom of routine can be a very large thing. As novelist Walker Percy puts it, getting through a Wednesday afternoon is the hardest thing in the world. That's true. Sometimes. If you ask Father Matt, getting through a Thursday night is the hardest thing in the world. That's because for the past 3 years, he has come to school and pulled an all-nighter in an effort to maintain good order and discipline. Every Friday morning, he's then said Mass and taught class. Meanwhile, Magister spends his Wednesday afternoons gifting us his life's work, a wonderfully strange pedagogy, painstakingly crafted from hieroglyphics and Latin ditties. There's the Magister's brother, Dr. Classic, who has literally taught thousands of people, yet never have I seen him treat any of my schoolmates as just another student. He's a man who knows the meaning of the words, Christ plays in 10,000 places, lovely in limbs, and lovely in eyes not his to the Father, due to the features of men's faces. Or Mr. Bauer, who shares his Marian devotion while mucking out the barn. Or Mr. Mason, the giant of the mead hall and the father of our feasts. These men are everywhere, cooking, cleaning, no job too low or too menial for them. Over there's my father mopping floors in the morning. And look, there's Mr. Taylor washing the dishes. The remarkably beautiful community a student joins when entering St. Meyers was brought about by the joy, charity, and long-suffering of the people that work here. And of course, especially by its founder, Mr. Kerr. Mr. Kerr has set an example for us all about what it means to do technology and to give away wealth and lose comfort in the service of others. Starting the school was a giant gesture of beneficence, and since then, he's not stopped giving. In big ways, yes, but also in 100 small ways. Treating boys to dinners, sharing his love of birding, and offering counsel to any that ask for it. These little actions have already borne fruit in the form of a joyful school filled with prayer and song. But we know these daily sacrifices will bear even greater fruit years from now. You see, just as the rings of a tree have a memory, which tells the story of what years were plentiful and in what years there was a fire, so too the immortal soul has a memory, which bears the mark of every good and bad action done or received. Every one of the graduates of the school now has stamped on his soul the gorgeous seal of the faculty's multitude of sacrifices. We will always be marking, constantly being enriched. Now, that's not to say that there aren't things St. Martin's has lodged in my soul which I wish it hadn't. Memories of the great toilet paper shortage and the students' resulting resourcefulness I could do without. Same with the time Raph, Chuck, and I were walking down the streets of France, I made disparaging comments about an ugly statue, which turned out to be a mime. Thanks to that and the unfortunate coincidence of hailing from Oklahoma, I'm now eternally stamped with the label retarded redneck. But there's only so much one can ask for in this vale of tears, and as Magister says, it's too late, babe. Dear faculty, current and former, you have given us so much more than any of us could have asked for. And if any of us wish we had done more for the school than we did, it is sadly too late. But it's never too late for a thank you. For all your charity, your diligence, and your daily example of striving to do all things well. Thank you. The class of 2021